Hello, Tomlin here from Chromatic Harmonica School, and I thought I would share what I have been struggling with on the chromatic harmonica, because this is a relatively new thing for me. I'm a diatonic player, very confident on diatonic, and I am adding chromatic into the repertoire. And that's part of what this channel is all about, which is following my journey, learning chromatic as a diatonic player, and helping you to learn along with me. Recently, I spoke about why I love chromatic, and I thought it was only fair to talk about the things that have been giving me grief. So the first one that has been a massive mindset shift is thinking in notes rather than intervals. So what do I mean by this? Let me pick up a diatonic harmonica and kind of demonstrate. If I play something on the diatonic like this, so this is a G, and then I pick up an A harmonica, I can play exactly the same. And if I pick up a D harmonica, I can play exactly the same. Isn't that great? Isn't diatonic awesome? You learn one shape and then you can apply it to any key of harmonica. It's meant that on diatonic harmonica, I don't think in notes. So when I'm playing a diatonic harmonica, I'm not thinking G, B flat, C, D flat, D, F, G. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking root, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, fifth, flat seventh, root. And that's thinking in intervals rather than notes. And I can't really do that on chromatic in the same way, because I want to be able to play all the keys on one instrument. So that means that I've got not one shape to learn, but I've got 12 shapes to learn. And if we start thinking about the different types of scales, I've got 12 major shapes to learn, 12 minor shapes to learn, and 12 diminished shapes to learn. That's really confusing, and it's a lot to think about. And that's what I've been really struggling with, that kind of shift from interval thinking, which is also how I think on the guitar, to note thinking. So when I'm playing on the chromatic, I'm not thinking root, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, fifth. I'm thinking D, F, G, A flat, A, C, D, and visualizing those notes and where they are on the instrument is really challenging. That's been the biggest challenge, is just the mind map of the instrument. The next thing that has been a bit of a challenge on the chromatic is the strong bias on diatonic harmonica for draw notes. So I play mostly second and third position. A lot of that resolves to a draw note, and a lot of the notes that we focus on are draw notes. So there's a lot of strength playing draw notes. And the blow notes are something that are just played in passing a lot of the time. Whereas chromatic really kind of evenly splits its attention between the blow notes and the draw notes. And a lot of that leads to the draw notes sounding really great and strong, because I'm used to playing loads of draw notes on the diatonic. But then when I switch to blow notes, it's a little bit weaker. And I have a lot less muscle memory for coming into the blow notes. It doesn't feel natural to resolve to a blow note, for example, which is what I would be doing if I was playing in the key of C or in the key of G or a whole bunch of other keys. So that's something to really wrap your head around as a diatonic player, that you need to learn how to make your blow notes sound as good as your draw notes and not have a difference between them. We're trying to get that even timbre. So timbre is the sound quality of the note that you're playing. So that's been a bit of a challenge, shifting, muscle memory and mindset to not just being all about the draw notes like it is with the diatonic. The next thing that I found really challenging is the high notes. The low notes and the middle octave all feel great. But as soon as I get kind of above whole nine, it's starting to get a little bit squeaky, and I'm finding that the notes up there are really sensitive. So it's really testing my technique to really try and relax and play the high notes sweetly without any tension and get a good round even tone like I'm getting in the lower octave. So I'm having to think a lot about that, and I'm finding that quite challenging. The next big thing that took a while to get was synchronizing using the button and not reaching for a bend. When I'm playing the blues scale on, a diatonic, I go to that 4-blow, then the 4-draw bend, then the 4-draw. Whereas on the chromatic, I'm going 3-blow, 3-blow with the button in, and the 3-draw. And there's lots of muscle memory about me wanting to play a bend, and then there's no muscle memory playing with my finger to get the slide in. So I really had to think about synchronizing blowing and pressing the button at the same time. So really making sure that those button presses are going in at the same time as I'm starting the breath. And it was even more challenging when I was trying to play trills, like so that has been something to really think about. And I had to play very, very slowly. I had to go through the scale at painfully slow tempos, like this. I really thought about pressing the button when I was blowing to hit that note. And it was tough, especially as all I wanted to do was bend. So at the beginning, I was just doing lots of... What's that? That's me trying to bend like I would bend on a diatonic. And that doesn't mean you can't bend on a chromatic, but it feels a bit different. Okay, so the final thing that I've really noticed, and I'm sure there will be many more things that are challenging in the future, but the final thing that I wanted to talk about today is just the ergonomics of having your mouth on a much bigger instrument. So on diatonic, I switch very happily between lip pursing and tongue blocking, depending on what I'm playing, what kind of sounds I want to get, what tones I want to get. It's not a big deal, and I can play tongue blocked for a long time, and I can play lip pursed for a long time, and it's great. But on the chromatic, if we look at kind of the size of the chromatic versus the diatonic, the chromatic's a lot thicker. So when I'm lip pursing, I'm having to open my mouth wider to get a nice clean tone and to get the harmonica deep enough inside my mouth. And that wider mouth, I'm having a tendency to grip harder with my lips, which is introducing tension, which is making me feel fatigued sooner. And I know that I need to A, build up the stamina, but also really work on not using an excess of tension when I'm lip pursing on the chromatic. That's quite weird, feeling a much bigger instrument in my mouth to do that. And so a lot of the time I'm actually defaulting to tongue blocking to play the clean notes, because then my lips are a lot more relaxed on the instrument. That doesn't mean that I'm only going to tongue block, because a lot of the sounds that I want to achieve on the instrument are going to be lip pursed. So I'm practicing lip pursing as well, but it's something I have to think a lot about. A, relaxing, and B, building up my stamina, but making sure that I'm not just building up the stamina and then keeping the tension. I have to try and get rid of the tension. So this video is not at all intended to put you off learning chromatic. I just thought I would share with you the things that I have found most challenging early on in my chromatic journey. I'm sure there will be more things as I go through it. There'll be more challenging things. I'm excited to discover what they are because the challenge is fun. Hopefully I haven't put you off, and if you're interested in more chromatic lessons and following me on this journey, just hit subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next Friday for my next lesson. All right, take it easy. Happy harping.